Welcome to chapter 2, understanding biases. This is a really important foundation piece, and it was the biggest source of aha moments for me. So, what is a bias? Bias is a prejudice in favor or against one thing, a person, a group compared to another, usually in a way that is considered unfair. Now, biases are evolutionary and automatic. That's how we evolved. But do they make somebody a bad person? Not at all. As human beings, we are all influenced by our life experiences and those who are around us. So fortunately, we can proactively address and reduce the impact of these biases. As far as type of bias, there are many types. The ones that are relevant here are those that are usually come to judging other people, usually due to some kind of bias when it comes to how they act or how they look. Now, you might even have some positive biases, but they're still undesirable and often unfair. These negative prejudices are often a barrier between us and making a connection with somebody else. As an example, if you adjust your posture and walking speed when you walk past a young male of a different race at night, this is one example. And as I share these examples, think about which one applied to you. Now, treating a male and a female child differently, it's also a bias, and which reinforces some negative self-confidence issues down the line. Thinking that an overweight person should stop eating that large donut, and that all Chinese people are good with math and computer, that people talking with certain accents are less intelligent. Now, the negative impact of these biases is that let's say, for you, or let's say if you're making connections or working in a company, your team could have a great hire, but they're missing out on that. The employee is missing out on great professional opportunities because the person who is hiring them is judging them incorrectly. This goes against also diversity, where the strength of diversity is that together you're more powerful than the sum of the parts. And in the US, young black youth are perceived as threat. They might be 12 years old, but they're tall, and somebody might think like, oh, they saw the man and threatened. And this is how so many young black youth get gunned down even by police. So you see, it can have really negative impacts for organizations, for people, and in some cases, it can cost somebody their life. There's one type of bias that's very sneaky. It's called unconscious bias. And it is a social stereotype that people have about certain groups, but it's held outside of the conscious awareness. And unconscious bias happens out of our control, and it occurs automatically to make us make a quick judgment, which is usually incorrect. One example could be when somebody is, let's say there's Joe, who is the hiring manager for a large tech company, and he really believes in diversity, Black Lives Matter, all the different movements. But when he's looking at the resumes, when it's like a name that looks African, or when he meets the person and they have a slight accent, but whenever they're like not the white male geeky look, they think that they're not that good engineers. And so this is purely his bias. There's no reason, no hint to tell him that this is true. But if he's unaware of it, he's going to keep hiring this certain stereotype of people. His employee group, is going to be the same kind of culture and mindset, which will mean that they're going to have only one angle to solve a problem instead of having diverse points of view, which is how diversity can be very powerful. Now, how you manage it? Now, one thing you can do is take the implicit association test. There'll be a link in the show notes, in the course notes. And it's a free test that was developed by Harvard to help us appreciate our own biases. What you can do is also you can make an effort to be friendlier and act less threatened when interacting with people who are different than you. You can even seek out opportunities to get to know these people. So there might be some group of people that you are very comfortable with, you're attracted to them, you see them, hey, you'll not just go meet them. There might be others that you are not so comfortable. Find people from that group, maybe a colleague or somebody, and invite them for lunch. Just, hey, why don't you come along? A few friends are having, and then make an effort to get to know them. And in getting to know them, you can make an effort to see what you might have in common. So you can talk about, let's say, now we have Game of Thrones is a big TV show here in the US. And for many years, I would bring up, do they watch that? And then if they don't, they might tell me what they would do watch instead, which tells me already a little bit about what kind of interest I have. And based on that, I can find something that if I have, which is similar, or just be curious about this area that I don't know anything about. So, as a final thought, keep in mind that these biases, and this is how we evolved. So it's not about beating ourselves up, and it's not about having this challenge of like, oh, but they're such a nice person, but they're acting in a certain way. As humans, we have different dimensions, and it's about just being aware. And when you're aware, you are able to control it. So as an exercise, what you should do is take the implicit association test. Uh, and see what you find. You can come to the group, then comment about your impressions. I'd love to hear them. And also, this week, seek out one person from a group that you are not so comfortable with, and make it a point to meet with them for coffee, lunch, and find out what is the best childhood memory, and also ask them what would make this year meaningful for them. Let's see what happens. So check it out and then come back, report back to the group. I'm looking forward to hearing all the experiences.